everybody, I'm Nate and welcome to my channel. It's been a couple weeks since I've done a video, but life's been busy as it's, you know, it's just life's been busy. No real excuses other than that, but I'm glad to be back with a review today. This is from Shuriken YoYos. This is their newest yo-yo, the Senban, but this is their second yo-yo. Their first yo-yo I also got to review, and this is quite the departure from that. This is a slimline yo-yo. Let's go ahead and talk about it. So like I said, it's a slimline yo-yo, quite a bit of a departure from their initial debut yo-yo, which was a large, in-charge, fairly large yo-yo. And I really like that a lot. It was a nice, clean design and approach. It seems like Shuriken has certainly a vision for a company that, as kind of maybe the name kind of gives a clue to, if you're not sure what a shuriken is, it's basically a Japanese throwing star, okay, or a ninja throwing star rather, and so all their yo-yos are kind of named after different styles of those ninja stars, which I didn't really know there was a variety in ninja stars because I'm not into martial arts myself, but I think it's really interesting. But I am remembering back a little bit to Mr. Floof. Back in the day, that was my history teacher in high school, and I do remember a unit that we talked about weaponry, which was really cool. So I do remember just a little bit, but I didn't remember that there were like a variety of them. Each of their yo-yos so far, and this was true on their first one. Now I actually had a prototype of the first one, so it didn't have the engraving, but this is the production run, so it has a little engraving here, so I'm gonna go and show it to you. It's on there, really tiny. That's the only engraving that's on there. This is the shape of a Senban of a ninja star, so there you go. That's the only engraving on there. It has that fade too. I really like that purple and blue fade, real nice and really nice. So it kind of gives it kind of like a, you know, a lavender sort of look when it's spinning. Looks more purple, but a little bit lighter purple because that blue kind of blends in. So nice color. If you're gonna have a fade, it needs to look good spinning. So this one looks real good. 7068 aluminum, and so it's nice and thin, but it's got a fair amount of like beefy rims to it, and so it's a nice, I don't know, I think you would consider this an H shape. Right, that's what I would consider it, and it has like a little reminiscence to the Resto, if you remember that yo-yo that I reviewed forever ago, but it has a similar look to that, and I think like an H-type shape for a, you know, if you're trying to get a slimline yo-yo that's also somewhat performative, you know, or competitive or whatever, performative, I'm not sure if that's a word, but if it can perform rather, and it's kind of still going to have that stability and it's still going to have that spin time and all that while still maintaining a more of a squashed slimline shape, I think an H shape is really nice for that. I do like the hub design as well on there, and it's got this little, you know, dome sort of like look to it, so it keeps a little bit longer of an axle, and it has a little channel in here, so even though it's not centering, like it doesn't have a finger spin hub there, you can be able to kind of catch it in that little, like that trench there, and you can be able to do a finger spin with that. It also has this, like, speaking of like a trench kind of thing, around the edge here, it has kind of a cut in there, just kind of, I think, more for aesthetics than anything. It does probably take some weight off the rim, but you could like put paint in there or something if you really wanted to kind of like, or flowable silicone or something like that. If you wanted to add color to it, it wouldn't really add much weight. That would be substantial, that you probably even notice, but you could. I think it's deep enough that you could probably keep flowable silicone in there, I think. I've not tested it, so don't take my word for that exactly. But I think that would be kind of fun as a potential for that. And it doesn't really have an IRG, but you could probably pop that to the side a little bit and pull that up. But it's because it's deep enough of a bowl that you could do that. So I think it's a nice approach. You know, I feel like in a slimline yo-yo, it could be really easy to kind of just do it more old school, high wall, you know, that kind of thing, which that's fine too. But it kind of gives it more of, it's a little less approachable for the average thrower, I think. And so if you're wanting a slimline, I think that's more available and open to more the public, the average thrower. You're gonna want probably something that's a little bit more performance shape, and especially in the gap design. So I think they did a smart job by kind of doing that and kind of blending the two. Let's go and actually throw it and see how it plays on the string, shall we? All right, welcome back to the on the string section with the Senban. All right, it's getting to that time of year where, you know, it's not even 5 o'clock here yet, and it's already getting dark. So thank you, daylight saving time. I've had yo-yos that are a little bit more slimline than this. Like it's still in that slimline category, but it's not so slim that like, I feel like I'm having to compensate as far as how I throw it. And that's a good thing. Like it still feels like it has some performance aspects to it. I talked about that gap design, and I think that's a big part of it. It's got that nice open up gap, you know, and so that still kind of gives it that performance. It's not maybe got as much of a spin time as, you know, a wider yo-yo would, right? Just because of physics and stuff. But it still actually has some really decent spin times, and it has some really decent stability as well. And so, you know, it's got just enough weight to the rims there. Also, this one that I have is dead smooth, right? So it's a nice kind of budgety yo-yo. I don't know if it's under that $50 range. I don't know how much the fade one is, but the colors I saw on Yo-Yo Expert are under that 50 range. So really nice price point. And the other thing that a lot of slimline yo-yos have, because it is kind of squished together, it just doesn't have, I don't know, it just doesn't have much of a personality as far as throw. And what I mean by that is it generally doesn't fit into a category, maybe floaty or nimble or you know, that it just kind of has like just a, you know, and if you're not careful, it can kind of get more into the sluggish feel. And I don't feel that with this one. I do think that probably choosing 7068 was probably a smarter move. I'm sure they can do more with that alloy as far as design, but yeah, it's got a decent amount of rim weight. So it just kind of, again, it feels a little bit more performance. I wouldn't say it has a float-y quality to it, you know, but it's nice. Yeah, it's really nice. It's still gonna hit all those tricks that you want in a more performance yo-yo. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and show you a little bit of a trick, a mount rather. So it's a bucket mount, cool way to get into it. All right, so we're gonna start here with a breakaway. And so instead of coming into a 1.5 mount, we're going to go into this segment here, okay? What we're gonna do then is we're gonna roll out the front, okay? So while we do that, we're gonna kind of curl in our pointer finger of our non-throw hand. So that kind of grabs that, all right? So there's that so far. So in one motion, it looks like this, like that, okay? What we're gonna do then is we're gonna bounce the yo-yo up into this cross section here, okay? And what's gonna do is it's gonna land right onto that string, okay? So that opens up into a bucket mount. So in one motion, it looks like this. Like that, all right? Cool, right? So this is a trick that I filmed a little bit ago, and I just kind of love the way I get into it. I'm sure I'm not the first one to create this entrance into a bucket mount, but I really like it. And if you want to get out of it, you can do something like that. And be looking for a future tutorial for that. I'm actually gonna do a fuller trick when this is what it looks like. I posted this to my Instagram a while back, and I really like this trick a lot. All right, so yeah, I really like the flow of that trick. It's real fun. So I'll be sure to do a tutorial on that at some point. Let's talk about that gap. So, you know, it's got a, like I said, a performance sort of gap for especially for a slimline. Does really well. Wraps are good. Doesn't really feel like it's kind of slowing down too much. Binds are really good as well. Regens are really solid because of that slimline. It feels really good, feels really in control. Nice balance with that as well. Rejections are also really solid on that. Again, I think that gap H-type shape is really helpful to kind of maintain a little bit more of that performance integrity. Let's go ahead and talk about thumb grinds. Actually, it doesn't have a locked-in IRG, but I didn't really have to tilt that at all. Grinds are going to be all right too. You know, it's pretty decent blast, pretty standard. And actually, it's really solid for finger grinds as well. It kind of doesn't lock into the gap there, like my finger doesn't fall into the gap. Maybe if you have thinner fingers, it might, all right, but mine does not. But it does work really well, and you can tell the balance there. Really, again, it's got a lot of that performance feature while still maintaining that slimline shape, so solid for that. As far as finger spins are concerned, it's gonna pull them off. Like, again, your finger's gonna kind of hit that like sort of trench around that bubbly nub there, so it should do okay. So not too long, right? But enough. It's kind of like bouncing around there a little bit, but you're able to do finger spins if you want to. As far as horizontal performance, it's not going to be great for that. It's kind of falling a little bit, but it's actually not too bad because, again, the gap is actually pretty decent. And I'm talking while I'm trying to do this, but I just went ahead and got a bearing wrap here, and actually that was really easy to get out too. So you can really tell that the gap is just, it's wide enough and it's comfortable enough that you're probably not going to take this yo-yo apart too often to get out any knots, which is always a plus, right? I like this yo-yo a lot. I like it better than their first one, to be honest. Just maybe that's personal preference. Their first yo-yo was great. I think this one's gonna get a little bit more attention, I think, than the first one. So if you liked their debut yo-yo, great, you know, it was a good yo-yo. But I think this one's got a little bit more of the it factor. It's a little bit more unique. I like the fact that they just went for something a little different that wasn't just over the top performance maybe or competition focused, which that is the trend that we're in. We're still in that COVID season and there's not a ton of competitions right now. And so just fun yo-yos that are comfortable and good everyday carry yo-yos are certainly the trend, and I appreciate that. I think that's a really good thing. And so this one's good. I really like the approach to it. Clean design, and I like the look of it, and it feels great in the hand, and it's gonna feel really good in the pocket, right? And not be uncomfortable. But it's still not so slimline or so high-walled or what have you that it's unapproachable. I think it's gonna be approachable for the average person. All right, so that's gonna do it for now, and that's my review of the Senban from Shuriken YoYos. Until the next one, later.